Okay, go ahead.
Well, welcome to another question and answer. This week's question and answer is going to be very exciting. Here at the shop, we've been very busy, and as once in a while, what comes through the door will surprise even me. And what you're seeing up here now is a sofa that was owned by John Belushi, the famous John Belushi, and we have another celebrity in attendance here after a long respite is Jimmy. Jimmy's back. We're going to ask him to come up here, Jimmy.
Oh, God.
And,
it's nice to meet you.
make your way down from that studio audience. So watch out. People don't trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those 100 yards, those are the throngs of people I have to get through.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks for coming back.
I almost forgot. I drove by a few times. My God, I forgot where the place was.
I know. We were closed down there following the governor's rules, you know.
Yeah, I know. I was, working and being ill for a while. It was kind of disappointing.
We're glad you're back, man, and we're going to have you do something that's really exceptional. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll go out for dinner for you guys again. God, I got stuck paying the last time.
I'm going to give you the pleasure of opening up John Belushi's sofa, which a lot of people look at as almost like a what do they call those things they bury in the ground? Those boxes.
Time capsules?
A time capsule. This could potentially have. And let me just give you a little background on this sofa. This is an Art Deco sofa from the 20s, from the Roaring 20s, right?
Okay.
That kind of fits John's personality, doesn't
Yes,
it?
I give it that. He did have a kind of a nice style to himself.
Yeah, and this was probably in some socialites, New York, beautiful apartment overlooking. I visualize it overlooking, the Central Park, and from there it ended up on Martha's Vineyard, where John later, after he became famous, had a home. And this was in his home in Martha's Vineyard, and It went from. They gave it. They're very generous people. They, him and his wife, gave it to a couple, and that couple gave it to my customer now, who lives locally.
Oh, okay.
So it has a nice history.
A little bit of a lineage type of thing.
Yeah, you can see that it's probably had cats. I can see John probably was a cat lover, and it's got a little abrasions on the bottom. And,
I like the frame though.
Yeah,
a solid
beautiful
frame.
It almost like John Belushi's personality. It says, just hey, how you doing? Come on and sit down. He's just kind of welcoming. It's been through a lot, and
yes.
When you come back up, we're going to have you start taking it apart to see if there's any treasures of upholstery inside there.
Well, you mean like a lost script of the Ghostbusters?
Who knows? It could be a movie that we never even knew was in the making.
I know. He was working on he had 2, I think, or 3 that were in talking with, and then he was writing on one, which I never, of course, got completed. So
yeah, I mean, we could find anything. He had a lot of celebrity friends too that would visit him down there, like Dan Aykroyd and a lot of other.
There's a guy that's done well for him, so I'm glad he's always been a favorite of mine.
So we don't know what we're going to find. I mean, this has not been taken apart. This is the original material, so we may find things from the original owner from the 20s.
Okay.
We may find things. Probably John didn't get it right after the original owner. I have no way of knowing that, but there could be 4 or 5 different owners to this. So it'd be interesting to see what we can find, what information we can find about the sofa from taking it apart. Okay. So we're going to ask you, Jimmy, to sit down on your seat over there. Well,
I'll see how long it takes me to get back there. The show might be over by the time we get back.
Just want to say Janine stayed up all night, 6 a.m. in Australia.
Wow. Janine, how did you stay up? Well, if you didn't sleep before this, I guarantee you that this will put you to sleep because we have Jimmy with us today. No,
wait. I just got here, guys. Give me a break. Good God, man.
So we're going to start reading. I'm going to catch up on some business here. This is YouTube comments, Patrick.
Yep.
The first is how to upholster 1860s chair part 5, measuring and applying fabric. That's a YouTube video. And the comments from William. He said, wicked good tutorial. He must be from Boston. I'm doing 2 chairs that belong to my grandmother. Well, good for you. It's nothing like doing a family heirloom and saying that you did it, and then having your kids or your grandkids say, Grandpa did this. So that's great. The next one is Sewing Machine 101. And as usual, you guys, any questions? Feel free. Comments, feel free. This is from Melina. She says, hi, may I know the difference between a single needle and a double needle? Your help is highly appreciated. So I only have single needle machines, but I have a double welt foot and a single welt foot. So I think she might get a little confused. I think there are double needle machines, but we don't see them too much in this business. I think you might see those more in an automobile upholsterer or somebody that's doing custom cushions that need the two, that they're running. Usually you want to run 2 stitches next to each other. You need them straight, and the only thing to do that would be a double needle machine. So that's different from what I do. I don't usually do stitching like that. Usually I do a single seam or piping, and so or double piping. So I think that she's getting a little mixed up with needles and feet. I hope that is clear. And then she follows up with another question. And when doing an upholstery, what machine should you use? I like Juki machines. I like the simple ones. If you're a custom upholsterer, I don't think you need much more than that. Some people like the heavier Juki machines. My model here, I have an old model. It's a Juki, and I think I mentioned this before. It's a DDL 555 ON. They have Juki machines that came out after this one too. That each Juki machine that comes out, I really am a big believer in Juki machines, is better than the previous one. They're always improving. And here we go from update, new classes and supplies coming soon. This is from Denise. Yes, slip covers. There's not many people who do them in my area, and I'm getting more requests for them. Thank you. Yes, and the right supplies, so I don't overspend my money and time trying to find the right things. Yeah, that's coming really soon, you guys. We find that, I think I mentioned this last week, we find that we've got quite an audience with the skill. We've built a big audience for the skill through the YouTube videos and the online classes, but there's a huge gap between the skills and also the right correct supplies to use. And of course, I know which ones to use for different applications. We're going to be putting kits together and everything else, so that we're going to streamline make it easy for you guys. Instead of you guys just fumbling around on the internet, we're going to make sure that we're going to get that up soon. Janine, hi Janine, thank you for staying up. Wow. She says, now this is for pricing. When did this go up? Recently, Patrick,
yeah,
right?
Yesterday. Yesterday,
pricing and upholstery, and Janine says, fantastic information, thank you. Now she's in a different country, so she's going to have to apply what I said to Australia somehow. But I guess the same thing, we were talking about metropolitan areas opposed to rural areas, and there's obviously price differences there. Well, Australia has both of those things, that's for sure, especially on the rural end, right? So she can just apply what I said to Australia, sure. Fantastic information, thank you. You are so generous with your knowledge. I can't believe you are giving this valuable information away for free. Your online classes are amazing and incredible value, and I'd encourage everyone to consider trying one. And Janine, you could tell people that you're not related to me in any way. You're not we're not paying you to say that. But I did, and then bought a yearly subscription. You are a great teacher and mentor, and certainly the best on YouTube. Thank you. I'm not being paid for this, she says. I haven't
Come on, you own up
You
to
can
it.
tell I haven't read these ahead of time, you guys.
Yeah, you've read that before.
Hey, we have a heckler in the audience.
Yeah, that's
security,
right.
Security!
All right, yeah, I guess my appearance lasted all of about 5 seconds.
And I have a question about what you said. You add 50% for more time if you are taking the piece down from just the top fabric, the basis of all your time frames today, to the frame. My concern is that might be okay if it was a slip seat dining room chair, but for, okay, sorry, page 2.
No, I didn't give you that by accident. I'll read it for you. For an 8-way hand-tied sprung wing chair, surely it would take much longer to strip. Remove staples and springs, etc.
Yeah.
Than just 50% more. Can you run down the list and estimate time to fully reupholster each style, or is this too variable to detail the question?
That is extremely variable. I mean, plumbers only bill you by the hour, right? Plumbers and electricians are the two tradespeople I think that really know their time and can get away with charging you. Where I hate to say it, but as an upholsterer or many other trades, it's you have to base it on a per hour, and then you have to increase your speed. That's the only way to get around it for us is speed. You need to, and the only way to get speed is really by practice. So you really have to get good and fast, and that's how you can realize the money, because the marketplace is gonna just dictate what you can get. So if you're really charging, if you should try it sometime. And I advise anybody to do this. Log in every single moment you spend on a piece of furniture. You'd be amazed, especially if you guys are just starting, or if you're even in the journeyman period, meaning you've done it for maybe 10 years. You might be amazed and a little bit disheartened at how long, let's say for instance, a wing chair. If you've been in an upholstery shop, for instance, and you've only put outsides on, and you just barely are starting to do a whole piece, right? I would say that if you tallied up your time for the average person at that point in their career, you're probably at about 30 hours, okay? But you can't charge 30 times 50, that's $1,500 for a wing chair. Probably most places you couldn't do that. So that means that you just have to kind of, adjust as you go along. You just have to speed up, and then that will come down. That time you put in will come down, and then you'll start seeing it as more profitable. Sorry, it's the only word I can tell you. You just cannot, if you're on the slow side because you're just starting out, you just can't add up your time and charge for that. You're going to have to just kind of live with the fact and try to make it up on other things. And one thing I didn't mention in the pricing, and I'm sorry I didn't, is repair jobs, like repairing springs or repairing cat damage and things like that, or putting an outside on, or stuffing a cushion. That's where you can make a little bit of money to make up for the reupholstery. So maybe what we'll do, Patrick, is have one of those YouTube videos about repairing furniture, because that's where there's profit. That's definitely where there's profit. I just hope that helped.
Jane has a follow-up about that.
She does?
Kayla, you want to take that?
Janine says, so you would lose on one job and gain another.
Exactly.
So it would average out to not be out of pocket too much?
Yes. You need to, especially in the beginning of a career, you need to find out where you're most profitable. I can tell you right now, you're going to be most profitable doing repair work. I can tell you that right off the bat. For instance, if somebody comes in with a Victorian chair that's sagging, the springs are sagging, and you can repair it from the bottom, meaning take off the old webbing, put the new webbing on, you can get like $150 for that as a good price, and that would probably be about an hour's worth of work. See what I'm saying? And the little supplies attached to that, or cushion refills, things like that. You can make a little money on. Whereas the wing chair that you're at 25 hours or 30 hours. That's where you can make it up. Certainly, yeah. Janine gets it. You'll get good at pricing too as you go along. You just have to just do more things. That's all. Do we have any more questions before I go on? Okay. So this is from another. Wow, we got a lot of comments, Patrick, on pricing and upholstery.
Good.
Wow. So we know that that's popular, right? So this is from Peter, I think. Just finished my last job today. I retired at 61. Self-employed, took over from Dad up here in Canada. We started in Scotland. Don, I was too cheap. Great to watch tonight. Cheers, Kevin. So what he's finding is, I think I mentioned, don't devalue yourself. Don't sell yourself short, is what I said last week. And I think most of us don't really realize the skill that we have built. So we build skills. The time that you've invested in this, always consider that. That's time, and that people are hiring you. They're hiring you for your expertise and your time that you put into this trade. So don't sell yourself short. And I think I also mentioned, build up a little equity in yourself by maybe teaching a class. And we have this beautiful ottoman that is on the website that you guys can probably teach from that. But become the expert, and you are the expert probably in your whole town. I'm sure if there's not another upholsterer, you're the only one. You're the expert. You know, so that's what I would say. That just builds up equity. If you're a teacher, that builds up equity. And every adult ed program in this country is looking for people to teach. And the only caveat is that you have to fill the class. That's all. And
If teaching ever comes back.
teaching, yeah, I think it will come back in small groups. And I think most people who are watching are probably only, Pat, they're probably only, and a good point, they're probably only interested in small groups anyhow. You know, they're probably be intimidated. When I taught 12 people at once with all different projects. It's like crazy. That was when I was younger. I can't do that now. Dee Dee, she says about the pricing, upholstery pricing. Thank you for doing this. I just started doing it professionally. I undercut myself horribly. I live in a lower economic area. I've been doing wingbacks for $350, not a total teardown. Yeah, you're a little bit on the inexpensive side. You know, I don't know if you didn't tell me you sold fabric, but sometimes too, Janine too, you can make it up on the fabric end of things too. So keep that in mind, because that's the other equation to that. And I think I showed you a little bit about that last week. But again, you know, $350 to me would be maybe a nationwide average would be more like $425. I could tell you when I started 40 years ago that we were getting $325 for labor for a wing chair. So you're only getting $25 more than when I first started 40 years ago. So Denise, same thing. She's commenting on the pricing and upholstery. Yes, I'd like to know how to keep everyone that speaks to me organized. Yeah, we mentioned how I do it. Maybe, Patrick, that's another video we're going to have to show our friends on when they start getting multiple jobs in, how to keep everything in order. And you know, you just can't keep what you have in the shop, but you have to know what you have already sold out there that's ready to be picked up and all, and the supplies that you need and how to organize that. I'm an expert at that. I've not lost one piece of furniture. You'd be surprised. Some mid-size upholsterers lose furniture, or they lose instructions, or they do something wrong, or they put the wrong fabric on. The list is endless. So we are definitely going to do that, right, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll show you how to do that. She's getting more and more work, what she's saying. She's a one-band show and I'm getting more and more work. Also, I'm still not fast and I'm having a hard time with turnaround times. I also have people bring me their furniture and so far they're okay with it. I just tell them to arrange for delivery and pickup. That's a good idea if you can. You know what I find, Denise, is that more people have SUVs and they're very willing to bring in everything up to a wing chair or a club chair.
Right.
So it's really good. I mean, as far as, you should probably have a van though if you're getting into the bigger stuff, because you're going to have to offer that. Bless you. But there's a lot to talk about with that. Denise, we think we can help you and then get you organized on the supplies too. That's really important, and keeping the flow. You need to keep the flow of the business going. You need to keep things, you can't have things sitting around, right? This is from Ghost. Nice content, bro. Oh, good. Thank you, Ghost. I hope I don't meet you in a haunted house. Shut up, Jimmy.
I have a question though.
Jimmy has a question, an in-studio question. Yes.
So when you're beginning the project, just much like this, and you explain to the customer, okay, you discuss the fabric and the fabric is already set, and the price has been set with that. Now you're getting into the stripping of the furniture. Do you tell them exactly, you know, I new cotton, new Dacron, cushions had to be done with this, you know, kind of like to justify the price of what you are?
Yeah, I mean, there's a discussion that happens most all the time. Some people want more detail about what you're going to do, especially if they have a historically correct piece or a mid-century piece or something like that. Most people, though, it depends on how long you're in business and what type of an expert you are. You know, I mean, we won, not to blow our own horn, but we won Best of Boston in 2018. Mm-hmm. So that just gives people so much confidence. Most of the time they don't ask. But I'm always open to talking about what I'm going to do to a piece of furniture. Right. Some people need that.
Well, they do. I mean, especially when something's that old, to say, how are you going to build this all up again?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, not only that, but to keep it to what it was intended to look like. This is another problem. You can turn it into something that they, aesthetically, that wasn't what it was intended.
Yeah, but you know, too, sometimes people have different perceptions of what it wants, what it should look like.
Yeah.
And I think you, as being the experienced upholsterer, has to say, well, this is what we're going to do. Strip it down, we're gonna add new cotton on the arms, we've got 6 new springs coming in, we're
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
that way at least they, because sometimes they, again, some people really just say, they wanna see the finished product and that's all they need to know.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And
No.
that's sad.
Yeah. No, it reminds me of a story. I had a French chair that I did, an upholstered French chair. And the woman called me in. She said she had an upholstered French chair. It really didn't look like that. I mean, it looked like an oversized club chair, really, to me. Like,
Okay.
you know, even it didn't scale out right at all. And so she was telling me about it. So I brought it back, and I realized that the upholsterers over the years just kept going over and over and over. That focus on the arms if you can. On a real club chair, French club chair, they have these swoon or saddle arms.
Okay.
So what happened was the arms actually were straight. There was so much other stuff in there that they were straight.
They never stripped it down.
They never stripped it down. So I stripped it down and I brought it back to the woman. She actually started to cry
Why?
because she said, I haven't seen this chair in 50 years.
You're kidding.
She knew there was something wrong. When I did it, she all of a sudden the line. So it left kind of like a big wrestler, like think what a WWE wrestler, and it came back a beauty queen, the chair.
Wow.
I swear. And it was really nice to see her reaction to that, you know.
Right. Well, it's much like when you refinish a piece of furniture, you say, oh, it's been whitewashed, it's been painted, and then all of a sudden you say, God, I have vague memories of this thing being a stain, like a walnut color.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could bring things. That's what we restore. We restore furniture. That's what we do. So let's get back to the. This is how to upholster a dining
One sec,
chair.
I'm gonna change out the battery real quick. I can't. Kill till it's dying.
Can you hear me? Is that all right?
Go ahead.
So people, this is a comment from Samantha. People don't realize what an amazing skill in art it has been and still is, talking about upholstery, is when it is so brilliantly done. Love this video. Well, thank you for appreciating that. And that goes with the story that I just told, doesn't it? And Samantha also says, great information technique on part 3. And then Jackie's on the how to pad a dining room chair says, I love oak kitchen chairs that have never been cushioned on them. How can I go about adding cushions? Be very careful about adding cushions on anything that was intended not to have a cushion. So I would say minimize it as much as you can if you're going to do it. Minimize the cushioning, because the chair is built from the ground up when it's made, if it's made not to have a cushion, to be the appropriate height. So if you're going to add 3 inches on that, you're going to feel like you're toppling over, and you won't be able to fit under a dining room table, etc. So be careful of that. We do have videos on. There's at least 2 of the YouTube videos. They're going to have to do a little searching on our Broadway Upholstery School, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
They'll find at least 2 on that subject. 2 different ways that we did oak chairs or cane chairs that turned into upholstery. You'll see. Janine also says.
There's that funny video we posted.
Oh yeah, I know. I was walking across. I bet everybody, even Janine, has heard of Walden Pond in Concord, Massachusetts. Jimmy, this is a true story. So I was going to get. My son needed to have some holes bored in some. He made this beautiful wooden gym thingy for weightlifting, and he had 4x4 pieces of very hard wood that we had to bore some holes that were about an inch thick, an inch wide. Forget about it, Jimmy. You know how hard that is?
Oh my God, you got the right drill bit, or you don't?
So I took it to this fella, a friend who offered to do this, and there were like, what, 100 holes or whatever there were. So, okay, so I'm boring. I go up there, and I dropped him off. He said, come back in an hour and a half. And so he's putting holes in wood, right? That's what he's doing. Holes in wood. So this goes with the story. So I go to Walden Pond, which was nearby, and I'm going for a walk, and Jimmy, wouldn't you know that I came across a woodpecker in the tree, a beautiful, the biggest woodpecker known in North America, and he's pecking away. And I'm thinking to myself, I just dropped this wood off to be bored right?
And here he shows
And
up
here-
after the fact.
Yeah, we have a YouTube video, but the funny part about this video is, and Janine, I'll read Janine's comment, is there was a chipmunk challenging the woodpecker, so there was like a war, you know?
Oh, you're kidding?
No, the woodpecker, he's pecking away, and the bugs, you know, he's getting the bugs. The chipmunk wants some of that, you know? At one point, the woodpecker looks up and said, "You want a piece of this?"
Do you think he said that?
Well, I
Or he
mean,
came down kind of like,
That's
yeah.
what he looked like, he said. So Janine says, "I wish we had woodpeckers and chipmunks in Australia. So cute to see. The chipmunk chickened out."
Yeah. Chipmunks, they're very cute though. They are, they're the size of my hand.
They're cute, but they're not fighters.
Well, if you would back them into a corner, I think
You think, well, any animal, even you, Jimmy, if we backed you into a corner, I bet you'd come out swinging.
Nah,
No, you're a
I'm
pest.
a lover.
You're a good guy. Now, finally, from Bobby, and then I can't wait for this. Come on. This is the most, everybody's waiting, Jimmy, for
Well,
trade.
you got one more thing before that, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you passed the popcorn around. Didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah, I got something before that, a surprise for you, Jimmy. But let's get to the...
another surprise.
Bobby says, "Finally, I'm starting to see how the springtime work. Thank you. That's great." Okay, so now, Jimmy, should I have Jimmy come up, Patrick?
Absolutely.
Why don't you come on up here, Jimmy? So we got this from Terry, and this, you know, this is right up there with the birth of your first child, maybe, or your wedding day, or whatever. I mean, your diploma day, whatever it is. Terry says, "Good afternoon, Kevin and crew. I'm so glad to report that I have found coconut here. The company is from Georgia, called Rolanda International. I received my shipment at 222-pound bales. It seems to be just what I was looking for. I am attaching." Chad, are you throwing this up, Patrick?
Yeah. Another page, too.
This is kind of like that show, This Is Your Life, Jimmy.
Oh God, should I bring I didn't bring tissue with me.
So Rolanda has customers that use both bristle and mattress for upholstery. Coconut here, coconut fiber, is the fiber process from coconut husks that have been cured in water. Rolanda offers core fiber processed in fresh water only. This abundant natural resource is a byproduct of the coconut industry. During processing, the initially separated fiber is called mattress core fiber. These are short and flimsy. The longer and thicker core fiber are called bristle core fiber. Bristle core fiber is the best quality fiber in the market and has a very low biodegradability.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're looking for in batting, Jimmy.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for. And then Patrick's got a picture. We want to present you with this. You may have these pictures of the coconut fiber. We know that you're going to go out and frame those and hang those on your
Yes,
wall.
actually I might blow them up. But you know what? When they're on Google, okay, when I've seen them before, they use an awful lot of this. Sometimes they mix it with horsehair.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes they do.
That's a good idea.
Which, I mean, sometimes.
That's actually a good idea.
Well, I don't know. I mean, horsehair. I mean, we did the sample earlier. The horsehair is so much more resilient.
Yeah, when are they going to see that show, Patrick, that we did with presenting Jimmy with the different battings?
Soon.
All right. So now we're going to get to the John Belushi, right?
Okay.
So we're going to ask you, Jimmy, to turn this around.
Okay.
with
Let me do one thing. Get this out of the way.
What's that theme song to the Blue Brothers when they're
Soul Man.
Soul Man. I feel like
Soul Man, or
singing that.
you know what? Give me some loving. I love that. I go crazy if I could hear that night and day.
Let's turn it completely around because we have to start with the outside back.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that John probably slept on this for sure, and I think if he had guests over in Martha's Vineyard, I bet they also slept in it. So Jimmy, we don't know what we're going to find. I'm going to get you started because I want. Look, folks, it has not been touched, right? We're doing this now. I'm going to help Jimmy just tear the top off to get to the. Look at it's hand stitched.
Oh my God! Wow.
Look at that. This is
Now
a
that's-
brocade fabric, by the way, an old brocade. It's the original fabric. Boy, this is exciting, isn't it, Jimmy?
Now explain about the fiber. Tell me again about the fiber.
This is a brocade. It's a raised pattern. If people can't feel it, but this is a raised pattern. That's what distinguishes a brocade.
Okay. Now was that because I still, like I say, remember my grandmother having.
Why don't you
This-
stand down here, Jim? We're getting a lot of dust.
Wow. Good frame. Oh.
What we got there, Jimmy? We got a couple of loose springs.
Oh, here we go.
Holy cow! Broken springs.
Oh.
You sure this wasn't on their set of Animal House?
Oh, I don't know. Well, actually,
Whoa! That's a surprise. Now I have to say, it's very rare to see a spring broken. It's very
Well, I
rare.
mean, consider it really wasn't probably secured. I mean, it's been there, what, a good 60+ years?
It was secured though. You see the twine?
Yeah, but not,
So on back springs, they're a little bit, they're a thinner gauge,
Okay.
and when they're used, I don't like using back springs actually because of this. We don't tie them as much as we do seat springs, and they're not the same twine because you can't use a heavy twine for that because it's more of a delicate. It's a very French thing, by the way.
really?
If you want to point out this, I'm gonna hand you a pair of pliers. Now, you guys at home, now you're gonna get a close up of this, Michaela, because this is where potentially. Now, I already see some coins there, Jimmy. We want to.
Well, you mean you made some money
I
today?
see some. I see a penny.
We might have the 1937.
Why don't you check the date on that?
Oh my God, no, it's not.
So it's a newer one, huh?
Oh yeah, God. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's recent.
So we only got dust there. I just want to point out one thing about the upholstery. They only put cotton up at the top, and then they had a tacking tape, and they pulled it down this way, and they hand stitched there. And I'm going to let Jimmy. Now this will be exciting, you guys, because this is where anything that's inside there, and I will caution you about something, Jimmy. I want
Yeah.
you to be careful because this was in a fire.
Oh.
Okay, here's a little bit more recent history. This was in a fire. It was in a front parlor. The firemen came in and broke the window from the outside in, so the glass shattered on top of the piece of furniture, right?
Okay.
So you really be careful of glass.
Where you're pulling it.
Okay, it's just,
Okay.
you shouldn't be touching anything really, except
Okay.
just be pulling, okay?
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you a pair of pliers. Do you have that pair of pliers, Jimmy?
I didn't, I believe.
Well, why don't you use these?
Okay. Wait,
Okay.
you start this way?
Well, whatever way is easy for you. Now, this is gonna be exciting, Jimmy. See what's inside there. You're gonna be going right in here. You're gonna undo all this right
Oh,
here.
wow.
That's the money pocket. That's the treasure. That's the Oak Island right there, man.
The Oak Island.
I'm gonna get it. Ooh, it comes right off, huh?
Yeah, this is, let's see. Wow, dusty.
That is dusty.
Oh my God, wow.
Careful glass.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes like Geraldo Rivera. Is there anything in there, Jimmy?
No.
You
No.
know what I do see though? What surprises me? Look at the stretcher material they use.
So it was pretty much like almost ordinary fabric. Didn't look anything special.
Yeah, that's just the fabric the upholsterer just had, you know, in his shop. So you
Well-
got a little bit more to undo here.
But you can also. Wow, yes, it is. Should have brought a vacuum cleaner first.
Well, we do have one.
Okay. But Kevin, this is the material. So explain the material underneath it.
Jimmy, let's just do a little cleaning there because
Okay.
that is dusty. This is going to be a little loud, you guys. So, do we have anything, Jimmy? No
No,
treasures of upholstery there?
nothing.
Huh?
I
Wow.
said send it back.
Nothing. Let me just do one thing on this side. I'm just gonna push down on the seat. The seat is very tight.
Wow.
Nothing came out. Okay, good.
No.
Now, Jimmy, we're gonna turn it. Be very careful of glass shards. I just got one.
Ooh. Okay.
Just a
Which
small
one.
one.
Doing this way again?
We're gonna come this way.
Okay. You want to just
Just
lift
keep
it up?
coming.
and
No, we're gonna turn the whole thing.
Okay.
People could see this side. Oh, hold it 1 second. So, the arms are more likely to have treasures, right? Some pocket watch.
Well, inside there, yeah, inside that area.
So I'm gonna begin this for you, just because I kind of know how it's attached. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? Can you hand me those scissors over there, Jimmy? Normally, you guys, I'm doing the bottom first, but for the sake of you guys at home for the camera, we're just kind of cutting away here. And so let Jimmy have the honors.
Oh, you always leave me with the dirty work.
Just the top layer there to see if we got anything in there. Be careful now. Be very careful, glass. These little glass shards get everywhere, so.
Yeah. Wow. Not a one.
What do we got now? We got something there. We got a
elastic.
Elastic. And elastic. What else we got in there, Jimmy? Anything?
Oh, nothing.
Wow. Okay, be careful of glass.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's bring it around and see the other side. See what we got.
One more time, boys and girls.
So we're gonna bring it completely this way. Our last chance to find anything
To make money
substantial.
today, Kevin. We gotta make money.
Of course, anything we find of value goes back to the customer. So, whoops, we got it. All right, Jimmy, this is it. I'm gonna cut this for you. And see what we got in here.
Oh, wow.
Your last chance, my friend.
Oh, okay. Should have brought my tool belt today. Oh.
What's that up to the up the top of the left corner? What is that piece of paper?
Tell your price tag. You want
Let's take a look at it, because you know sometimes the most innocent looking thing can give you the most enjoyment when you're looking through stuff like this. So I see a price of $1.59 and don't know what it could have been.
Wow, some of this is kind of slowly rotting away, Kev. So
Well, and that's it, my friend. So
Great.
we're gonna do one more thing before we give
what
up.
do we got the back? What do
Well, we got everything done, except I want to just look at the bottom of this. So let's bring it around again like that.
Okay.
I'm hoping that maybe John stashed some script from the bottom, maybe in the secret compartment. Some people are very clever.
Oh,
when they
yeah,
push things.
you've been watching way too many shows.
So let's flip
We're
it
gonna
up
flip
on
this-
its back, just on its back,
Okay.
right like that.
Wow.
And nothing. I mean, what I do see is this is an interesting spring arrangement where they've used wood slats. It's almost like a bed. You know, it's almost like an old bed, and they attach the springs to the wood. And you know, usually I don't like a system like that, except that this this seat has really stood up. I mean, we got a little damage here that we're going to have to fix.
So
We're
how
gonna-
did they secure the springs?
That's just this style.
Okay.
So my guess is that this company did mattresses and box springs as well as upholstery.
Do you
So-
think they use something almost?
That gauge on the seat would be much stronger than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain about the back. How would that?
Back springs, you know, it's surprising. There weren't many of them, and the ones that were there were broke.
Right.
So it's not used a lot. But for comfort reasons back then, they had less options with batting. So they didn't have many soft battings. So the only way to soften up a batting would be to put soft springs, right? So let's
Thing of the
bring-
past.
We don't have to do anything more to this, Jimmy. We're just going to push this back. Let's talk for a few minutes and catch up on some other business. So that was a little disappointing, but you know,
That's all right.
it's still John Belushi's sofa. That's a treasure in itself, isn't it?
Well, I think he's gonna be definitely proud of the job you're gonna be doing on it.
Let's
For
talk a
sure.
little bit about John Belushi. So I have a theory about comedians, and I think comedians, to me, they have to know people and they have to love people in order to make fun of them, really.
Oh, yes. You don't have that, you don't have anything.
So I think that John Belushi, I think this is kind of a tribute to him, this whole episode, by the way, because I think he was a good-hearted fellow, and I think that one thing that I remembered, I saw something about his life, and they were interviewing the principal of his school, his grade school, or middle school maybe, and one of his principals said to his mother that a boy like this or a student like this only comes around 1 in a million. So they saw something in John Belushi at a very young age, and I would have to say that it's probably a heart and soul more than anything, because he really wasn't formed in his humor. Maybe just the youthful humor,
Right.
but they saw much more than that. He was an athlete. Of course, I believe he was in the drama club.
He played an instrument. He played the drums.
Did he?
Yes.
I didn't know that. So he was multi-talented. I guess
Yeah,
that's what
I mean, he was, you'd like to think public schools are always, versatile with regard to the athletics, especially the music. I mean, I didn't know he played the drums. I thought, if anything, guitar or something, but of course you never saw him do that. But, if there was an instrument not knowing, I would probably say like a guitar, but the drums, you never saw him behind the drums. I never saw him do anything like that.
So he played so many characters. Of course, Saturday Night Live, he was discovered. It didn't take much to discover John Belushi, right?
Yeah.
With his multi-talents and his impersonations and everything. But he impersonated,
The
we were talking
Godfather.
earlier, the Godfather, Beethoven,
Yes.
name a couple other things, and samurai.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, that's the Olympic cafe.
Oh,
Him and cheeseburger.
that was one of the original skits. Of course, he was one of 7 original Saturday Night Live players, right?
Yes.
Which is interesting in itself. But the movies, then he went on from the career of Saturday Night Live to the movies,
Yes.
right? And the Blues Brothers.
That they said that movie didn't do well as it should have, but it's a classic. You can't beat that.
Right.
You cannot beat that for anything.
And then we have a question actually.
This is from Janine. Will you be using springs in the back?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to use a soft batting on the back.
Okay.
Because I don't want that to happen again. I don't want those soft springs, and I'm not a big fan of them.
Maybe you can show how to use them. If you're gonna.
Well, I could tell you that, Jimmy, that they were only 4-way tied with the lighter twine. What we do is we use if you're going to use springs, which I don't recommend, we use the nylon twine, and it's only 4-way tied. You can almost see that there's 3 ties attached to that, one's missing. So it's a 4-way tie.
But it didn't seem like they used an awful lot of them, though.
No, they didn't. That's another thing. You wonder if it made any sense at all.
Because looking at the back of it in the width,
right.
you'd
Some
say
things
at
are
least
just a bad
probably
idea.
two per.
That's all there was.
Two to
You wonder how much of a difference that made.
Yeah, because that would have to be. I would want a higher gauge spring.
So getting back to John,
Yes.
the other movies he did.
1941.
Yeah, and then Continental Divide. And
Well, yeah, he came to it. I think that was more or less of a comedic role for him than anything else. But
Yeah.
that was not panned too well. But that was, he's all the actors and actresses in the world. They go out and they've had their comedic roles a few times. Let me try something else. Hey, we have something else different for you. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look at. The Rock. Everybody, they're versatile. They've gone back and forth, and they've been pretty successful with it.
So, would you say John Belushi he definitely had physical comedy down pat?
Oh, yeah.
But I think he had more than that even. People often associate him with the physical comedy, but I think his sense of timing and improv was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think that's what people were attracted to him in the first place, was the improv, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did well with that all the time.
They say that he could just capture a whole stage, and the other actors would just put in the background. With
you're filling in. Oh, okay, he wants me to do this. Oh, okay, I got that. He wasn't a stand-up comedian. Some guys who get versatile with
That's
things.
right. He wasn't. He didn't begin as.
No, he never did. He never. You look at somebody like Eddie Murphy, where Eddie Murphy did do the stand-up, and he went into movies.
But
the sense of timing that he had and all that, and he did a lot of ad-libbing too, and there were a couple of mistakes, live TV, right?
yeah,
There were mistakes. I think my favorite part is when people broke character and they just would be able
and you never knew it half the time.
Yeah.
You never knew it half the time.
Yeah.
The other character that he played, the Hulk.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he came, I think, had Bill Murray was Superman, and there was
Mhm.
somebody else, and they all came in like, hey, you know, why? It was like a regular house party. I'm like, oh my God.
He was a standout. I remember that skit. He seemed to be a standout, and he took it all over from all the other actors. I think there were like, what other superheroes portrayed?
Yeah.
Like about 8 of them.
Yeah.
But he seemed like the standout,
Yeah.
and that was the case. And lost him way too early, right? At 33, was he?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think he had so much going on. He wanted to probably do so much at the same time. And then he got involved with the drugs, and that just, brought him down,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions right now, Michaela? Let's put this up. I want to get a look at this again and show people when I looked at this sofa, I was thinking, this is John Belushi definitely could own this sofa.
Yeah, just the right size for him.
Yeah, and it's the Art Deco, from the 20s, and it has a lot going on that speaks to me of John Belushi, I mean, it's rough and tumble. There's a lot of stains on it, as the years go by. And, I think it's going to make up beautiful. We do not know what the fabric's going to be yet, but I'm when I consult with the customer again, she likes the style, the Art Deco style, which I do too. We're going to keep that. But I'm going to ask her not to refinish the wood. I'm going to ask her to see if she can just leave it like it is.
Well, there isn't that much to it, Kevin, but you know what? I'm interested to see how the arms were all put together. I mean, that's what you like to kind of see, how they did it way back when, if this is as old as it is.
Well, this is the original.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep the piping. I usually
You're gonna
don't
do the
do
same
that.
thing again.
Yeah, she likes it, and I think it's a great idea.
Well, that was
just
an old style way back when. I remember
Yeah.
my mother's, I think, when one of her first couches, I mean, a lot of the couches had way back the trimming all the way around it.
Yeah. So I wanted to get, thank you for helping me tear this apart, Jimmy, but I do want to talk about getting back to Broadway Upholstery School, the online classes for
Yes.
you. And that's going to happen very soon. And then we're finishing up one with Michelle
Okay.
that's going to be offered soon, especially for you guys who are the yearly subscribers. You're going to get to see, there's a lot of content. And Bernice's slipcover, we had a couple comments on slipcovering today. And about how a lot of people asked for that. And the reason they asked for that, it ties into the pricing video that we did, was because most people think that slip covering is cheaper. And it can be cheaper if the piece of furniture you're slip covering doesn't need any work like this one.
Right.
Certainly can be cheaper. And so the labor is another issue. Labor usually is about the same. But
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not, I mean, you have the same amount of hours. If people just scope out their hours with slip covering, if they do a slip cover wing chair and they upholster a wing chair, they'd find out that the hours are close. And,
Wow. I
yeah.
would have never said that.
Yeah. However, again, some people are so skilled at, and that's why I would say get Bernice's tutorial,
Classes, get some
because
ideas.
she shows you how to speed up. We're talking about speed, right? Bernice has a method, and it's worth the class, just buying her class by itself. She has a method of slip covering that takes about, I'd say 25% or maybe more of the total labor down. She is really a smart
Wow.
woman, and she shows people how to do that. So that's worth the price of the show right there.
Yeah,
So.
you always want to kind of cut the time, especially you don't want to marry the product.
Oh, yeah, and that can happen with some pieces, so you have to make it up other ways. Patrick, do we have any other business to talk about?
I don't think that's it.
Do we have any more questions? No more questions?
No, that's
So I know that we were disappointed we didn't find a lost script to a
Oh,
movie.
yeah, a little.
But it was fun thinking about what we could have been.
Well,
right?
just the fact that you have John Belushi's sofa
Yeah.
here, I mean, it's really kind of saying, wow, what really happened with all this? Where was this when he was around?
Well, people say if the walls could talk.
Oh,
But you know, sometimes furniture does talk with things that you find in it. It speaks to the
Yeah,
person who
exactly.
owned
There
it.
wasn't much except for a
Right.
little few nicks and.
Oh, just mostly dust, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, you'll have a bigger job ahead of you, Kevin, with all the.
Yeah,
There's still some dust here.
This is a big one, right? This
I
is a
think
big
so.
one.
I'd like to see how it all kind of comes together.
Well, you'll see it because you're going to be here doing your thing.
Okay.
And we're going to be presenting that to you guys. So thanks for tuning in to this question and answer, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.